You're listening to episode 197 of Bears Beyond the Gate, a Bristol Bears podcast made by fans for fans. We're three friends who love the club, the game, and all things Bears. Each episode we talk about the game that's gone, the game that's coming, and anything else that takes our fancy as long as it's vaguely Bears related. We try to be as balanced as possible, but ultimately we are also trying to reflect the views and opinions of paying punters from all ages, backgrounds and demographics. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but we do try to say it as we see it, or at least remember it. This week we review the big day out in Cardiff. It's been a long time coming, it has divided opinion, but ultimately it was a sunny day and Bristol did get the win against Bath, and that is 11 wins out of 14. So we then think about anything we can take forward from this game to the Sale game on Friday, which if we really want to have pretensions of staying in the playoffs, we're really going to have to get something out of that game. Anyway, I'm Pete and I'm joined by Miles and Lee for a cheeky beer and a bit of rugby banter at the Bristol Beer Factory tap room. Well boys, we're back in the tap room. I think before we get chatting, we should just do our acknowledgement to our major sponsors. Thanks for having us down here again. Our only sponsors. But I am a bit concerned that we haven't seen sight nor sound of Lewis today, have we?
Well, did you want to describe? Well, I know we've already said in previous pods, but he was having a big run today, wasn't he?
Well, Lewis was doing the 10K.
Yeah.
And two things about the 10K is, A, I don't think he's ever run 10K in his life.
No, I don't think he's ever walked it.
No.
In the duration of his life.
And B, the 10K was quite early. It was way before the half marathon. I mean, that's an early start as well for Lewis. He's got two things there, getting up early and running 10K.
Absolutely.
And as I said, I sent him a little congratulations message, or because I had said on my sponsorship for him that I'd give him another tenner if he finished it. And I haven't heard from him, which is, I'm slightly worried now.
I got a funny feeling the lactic acid is building up inside of his joints right now.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably unable to move or talk.
I think you're right. I think he can't even press any send message on a message of any sort. He's just ruined, man.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is the beauty of youth, isn't it? Because I did warn him last week.
We did.
I actually did this. I did the Bristol Half Marathon years ago with no training, and I struggled for about a week after. And I did try and warn him, but obviously he wasn't listening.
No. But
he's been out training. Well, dog walking, but
he's done a lot of dog walking.
That's about it, really.
You did say dog walking, Miles. Yeah. Just checking.
Just round the block. That's not going to cut the mustard. 10K, is it?
Well,
anyway, we hope he's still alive. Well, I'm sure we'll catch up with him.
I've got to say, on that note,
when he's collecting his sponsorship money,
because we live quite close to Wapping Wharf, so we went out. Me and Jules went out on the bridge to watch the half marathon people go by. And saw the main, watched for about an hour or so in the sun. And I got to say, I've got a lot of respect for the people, because I've done it a couple of times, but quite a long time ago. But there were people in pain, but they kept going. It was, I actually felt quite humbled. And, but I was hoping, desperate for somebody to be wearing a Bears training top or something, so I could shout, "Up the Bears!" And not one went past. But two Southampton fans went past, so I gave up the Saints and a couple of others. So for all of those people out there, if you did the half marathon or you knew someone who did or you sponsored it, it's one of those events where you feel like it's the goodness of humanity comes out, and you forget that there are some very nice, good people out there who will put their bodies on the line for charity, because most of those people are running for some reason or other, for a cause.
And a lot of times it's a personal cause. And actually, that's segmented perfectly into... We should mention Dan. Me and Pete, we go to Dan the Barber's, don't we? On Coronation Road. And he did the London Marathon.
Full marathon.
Yeah, last week, or a week before last. And I did say we would mention him.
Brilliant.
I did forget it last week, as I do.
Yeah.
But well done, Dan. He's raised a load of money for a brilliant cause and fantastic work.
And I should just add, one of the best value barbers on earth.
Absolutely.
This side of the river.
And the way he keeps our secrets is unbelievable, because he could sell them for a shitload of money.
Actually, He's told me a few things about you, Lee, that I haven't mentioned. Yeah. Anyway, let's leave it at that.
Does it mention beet cream?
It does. Some sort of malfunction with cream. But anyway, let's move on before people start switching off in their droves. Right, the big day out, boys. As we said in the intro, this was been signposted a long time. It has divided opinion, but ultimately, it's the first time that Bristol Bears have played a home game, with inverted commas, in another country. Yeah. But obviously at the world famous, and some people may argue the best stadium in world rugby. Yeah. In terms of atmosphere and accessibility, and of course, it was there, and I think the final attendance was 51,000. So clearly they did a pretty good job in getting that many people there. We don't know quite how many paid, but there were a mix of people there. But I think it was embraced by both sets of supporters. And me and Miles planned the day. We planned to get there early. We thought, we're going to make a day of this. We're not just going to try and get there last minute. So we got on quite an early train from Temple Meads. Slight trepidation. I mean, we had booked it, but you're never quite sure you're going to get on these things until you do. But I've got to say, it was a very smooth transition from one country to another. And we got there about, 10 miles? The sun was out.
It's beautiful. Without passports, brilliant. I mean, what other international match you're going to go where you just don't need to take a bag for the day, exactly. Your suitcase and a passport, and the sun was shining. It could have been like the Tenerife or something, couldn't it? And then, that hot.
The main drag, they'd already closed it off to traffic, so there was it had a real kind of, it did really have a great.
I mean, that's my first time to the Principality. Yeah, absolutely, wow. And I was just super impressed. You get off the train, and there it is, and the fact that it's on near all the bars, sort of centre of Cardiff, absolutely loved it. I mean, I would say like it was easier getting there than Twickenham. The atmosphere was better. All the bars around it were better, and it was. Easy to get to, yeah.
We did have a little bit of an agenda. We had a pre-match agenda. It involved going to the Walkabout Bar early doors to get a free wristband that we'd booked for entry later on. From there, we were then going to go to the gatekeeper Wetherspoons to meet my mate Ash and his nephews, possibly have breakfast, but definitely have another pint. Then we had an appointment with ITV. We were going to get interviewed by some influencer for their highlights programme, and as is the way with media, we'd scheduled it at 12:30. They turned up at 1, but unfortunately for them, that meant we'd had another couple of pints before they interviewed
and I'm back in the sun again,
and I have no idea how much of it is going to get in their show. And I would urge people, just for a laugh, to see if you catch the I think they're on Wednesday, the highlights, because me and Miles went for it. We had the lads holding the Bears Beyond the Gate flag in shot behind.
Brilliant.
And I now thinking back, like, what the hell did I say?
I thought we were quite lucid at that point.
Good. We were certainly
good.
Yeah. The guy interviewing us, I had no idea who he was. He was Welsh, and he was a big unit. I think he was a Love Island sort of guy. Obviously got rugby background. I'm not sure he knew what the hell was going on, and he was more nervous than us for sure. And I think there was one question when they said, "We're about to go and interview Steve Luatua. Have you got a question for him?" So I was like, "Oh, we love him."
How do you look so young?
I said, signed another year. It's so good. But Steve, we need silverware. Can you guarantee you're going to win us the Premiership?
Yeah, before end of your tenure.
Do you know what? That just, on top of everything else, how organised you two are makes me vomit. I've internally vomited listening to that. Like, as anyone who knows me knows, I just do things completely off the cuff. And you guys had it all booked in.
Mate, I hope you still got some vomit left.
That was only the start.
That's only the start.
So once we'd done our media duties, we then remembered that Bristol Bears had sent a message out saying that the players were going to walk from their hotel, which is right next door to the ground, and walked from the hotel, walked through the Gatling Gate into the stadium, and they wanted fans to go down there to kind of form a guard of honour or whatever. And so we got down there. We weren't really close. So we suddenly realised we were like right at the front, and with Brisley Bear as well. And there was all of us, and we were right at the front. We got Ryan Keishel, we should give a shout out, and his family got his sons to hold the Bears Beyond the Gate flag.
Oh, brilliant! And
then Craig Doyle comes out, he's live broadcasting, and we're all going Doyley like that. And then the boys come round, and I filmed myself. And I was just like, all right, lads, go on, boy, give it, boy. It was, honestly, I'm concerned. Luckily
the safeguarding officer was there.
I looked at it on TNT Sports, and they clearly dubbed out my voice.
Excellent.
But then, anyway, so we were right in the thick of it. I even got a message from Dave Atwood, who saw a picture of me on Instagram from the club saying, "Oh, you made it to the front page of Instagram," and I don't think he was. I don't think he meant it in a good way, because I looked like what I am, is a middle-aged man with a slightly tight shirt,
desperate for attention,
5 pints down and a hot day. Anyway, it was great fun. So the players all went in, and then we decided to go into the ground quite early.
That was great. I mean, you had the stalwarts of the Genji. That's he's used to that, isn't he? He had game face on. But the youngsters, the Dunny, the Williams.
Dunny gave us a fist pump.
Surely they loved it. We loved it, didn't we? And that is a big day out for them to get that crowd walking through Gatlin's Gate. Yeah. They must have been
genuinely, there were some of the players. I'm thinking like the Jimmy Williams, the Laners, who may have a few years ago thought we'll never play at the Principality, and you could see that they were lapping in. Even Fitz Harding, who was kind of giving his captain's game face, you could tell that he was, he was a proud. He looked proud. He was a proud boy. He gave us a little wink, Fitz did, as he went past. Good. That was great fun. And then after that, we went into the ground, and interesting. I managed to get we talk a lot about the facilities at Ashton Gate, but what they haven't got at Ashton Gate is a toasted sandwich dispensing machine.
Which
they've got at the Principality.
Yes.
I mean, it's a bargain, £6.50.
And how many did you guys buy?
I had one.
I didn't. I had a cheesy hot dog.
Were you looking around for the pasty station?
Well, they didn't have that. I was looking out for the Oggy pasty station. It did a trick. But, beer queues, non-existent.
It was great.
But
it was great.
Proper rugby stadium. Yeah. They are set up for this. Pre-poured beers.
Stewarding was great.
With a little lid. So your Guinness didn't get too warm.
Or
spill.
As a proud Englishman, I've been there a few times to watch England, and I have to admit, even as a proud Englishman, for me, it's the best stadium in the world.
Yeah,
I really do believe that. The acoustics are amazing. The passion. I mean, the roof was closed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And what an atmosphere.
We also there was one thing I was going to say is that in our little kind of 5-hour introduction to the game, or our little walkabout, we did actually speak to a couple of fans, and when we were relatively sober, and we spoke to one bar fan, a good friend of ours, Tom Dabinet, and we also spoke to a mate of mine, Ash, with his 2 nephews, who did quite a lot of flag holding duties for us. So we asked them what they thought of the game, and I think this is a good point, a good juncture now to play those 2 audios to see what they see, so you could see, what the sort of feeling was before the game. So let's have a quick listen now, and then we'll move on. So this is Bears Beyond the Gate in the Walkabout Bar at about 10:45 in the morning, trying to make the most of the big day out, and we are here with legendary bar fan Tom Dabinet. Tom, how's it going?
Yeah, good, Pete. You?
Yeah, we're very well, thanks.
Good.
It's good to see that we're 1 Thatcher's down already.
Yeah.
But Team news came out yesterday.
Yeah.
We put out our strong side. You put out a Prem Cup side. What do you think is going to happen today?
I can't see anything other than a Bristol win today. I think, to be honest, we've earned the right to put this team out. We've got home semi-final already sorted in the European Cup final to contest in a couple of weeks. So I don't blame Johan for rotating, but I would have hoped he'd have given the fixture a little bit more respect than he currently has done. But sun's out in Cardiff, anything can happen. Brilliant. Well, I hope it's a great day. Hopefully at some point we might catch up with you later. Yeah, absolutely.
Find out how it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Okay, so I'm here with a family of Bears fans, uncle and 2 nephews. We're in the Gatehouse Wetherspoons pre-game. The atmosphere is building. I'm really, really interested to find out what these fans think about the game. So I'm going to come to Thomas first. So Thomas, do you think Bears are going to win today?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that. And which player are you looking forward to seeing, and why?
Ellis Genge, because he's in the Lions squad and he runs hard.
Brilliant. He's in the Lions squad and he carries hard. What more do you want? Right, we're going to go to your older brother. We got Sam. So Sam, are Bears going to win today?
Hard fought, but yeah.
Hard fought win, but yes. And which players are you looking forward to seeing?
Ibitoye.
And tell me why.
He's very fast and he makes a lot of ground. He's got that X factor.
He's got the X factor. And finally, we'll go to Uncle Ash. Uncle Ash.
All right, Pete.
It's good to see you, mate. It's good to see that you're doing something for your wider family. And you've got your 2 nephews here. Are Bears going to win?
Yeah.
Of course they are.
It's going to be a comfortable win, I think.
You think it's going to be comfortable? Why do you say that?
Because Bath haven't put out a very strong side, which is a little bit disappointing.
It is a little bit disappointing, but it is our big day out, not their big day out.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. But we do need a win, don't we? So
Absolutely, yeah.
Who are you looking for big performances today? Any players in particular?
I think again, Ibatoy is such a great carrier, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be.
As long as you don't pass it to the opposition.
Well, this is the way Bristol play, though, isn't it?
Risk and reward.
Yeah.
It's like the way you play cricket. And Joe Batley back.
Yeah.
Is that a big thing for Bears?
I think so. Yeah. I think. I'm quietly confident that it's going to be a comfortable win today.
Well, you had a miserable day at Ashton Gate on Thursday night.
Don't talk to me about that.
And it's going to be a big day in the Principality on Saturday.
Yes. Hopefully. My luck has to change, right?
Yeah.
So there we are, boys. Always nice to talk to Tom Dabbs.
Yeah, good lad.
He's obviously a fellow amateur pundit from them down the road.
Job.
And a fellow proper job ambassador as well. And then Ash and his two nephews who picked, they answered they answered well. They picked out the right players. So yeah, it was nice. We were all feeling a bit like that. I think there was Bath fans were probably assuming they were going to lose. Bristol fans were looking forward to a win. We got into the ground, and then we had one last job to do, Miles, which was to put the flag up,
didn't we?
And we were actually in a perfect position. We were on the second tier, quite near the front, on the sort of balcony bit. Mm-hmm. And we got there. We thought, brilliant, let's tie the flag up. What are we going to tie it with?
Do you think Pete bought any cable ties, mate?
Come on. I didn't take cable ties because I thought, how am I going to cut the cable ties afterwards? Because they wouldn't let me go in with scissors.
Well, you don't need to cut them, do you? If you just tighten them up, just leave them as they are.
Yeah, no, but you've got to get them off the flag, haven't you? Because I've got eyelets in the flag. I'd have to cut them out.
Good point.
Anyway, luckily, there's always a useful Bears fan around. And there was a family...
Binsey had a grass knife in his pocket.
There's always a useful dad with extra cotton and string in his pockets.
It wasn't football. It wasn't a football match. But anyway, there was this lovely family of, mum, dad, 3 kids, young kids. He said, don't worry, I'll sort it. Next thing I know, we had about 5 hairbands that had been unravelled.
Oh, really?
And we managed, and he gave us the hairbands.
And his kids had no shoelaces after.
And their hair was all over the place. But... And I don't even know what they were called, but I did buy him a pint of Thatcher's to say thanks afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Because his son did tip his Thatcher's over the balcony.
Oh, yeah, no, because that's what happened. Yeah, his son...
As they were helping us...
Kicked his full pint of Thatcher's over. So I said to the mum, I'll go and get
him one.
And so anyway, that was the job done. So all of the preliminaries took about 5 hours.
Seats found, flag installed.
And we had it was a good little light show to start with. There was good music. It was everything you'd expect.
Yeah, I was moaning a little bit, wasn't I? Saying, hang on, the weather's amazing. Couldn't they just change their mind about the roof? But the acoustics were brilliant. The light show at the beginning, I mean, you thought Ashton Gate on a speed, wasn't it? Another level. I was just brilliant. Yeah. So, that was well done. That was well done.
That second tier is the best view.
It's brilliant.
It's the best view.
It's the best place to sit. I know because there was a few people we met who made the mistake of sitting further back on the lower tier, and it was a little bit like looking out of a postbox.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember me and Paddy went on to the third tier.
Yeah.
And again, you were looking at the players. They were like pinpricks almost on the pitch.
I get why they did it. They filled the upper tier either side of the pitch, didn't they? Yeah. Just to get the atmosphere, kettle in, everything. But we were on the middle tier. I guess there was a few complaints from season ticket holders, and this is a bit of feedback off Facebook. And we support everyone. That I think the initial allocation of seats we were given weren't the best view, and I thought, I think I agree with this. It's a little bit disrespectful for season ticket holders to get. We were lucky, but not really. Middle view on the halfway line. If you'd have paid a lot of money your season ticket in the Lansdowne, I think it's the least I would expect. So maybe a learning for next year.
Yeah,
fair comment.
Anyway, that's about that intro to the game is about as long as it was actually in real life on Saturday. So we better talk about the game.
Yeah.
So boys, we won it. I mean, I think we speculated last week that we would probably be paying a weakened Bath side, and we would put out a strong side, and we were proved to be right. At the end of the day, on paper it looked like a comfortable win. We scored 6 tries. They only scored 3. Is that right?
2.
Yeah. So on paper, it looks pretty good. I mean, but it was a classic game of rugby. It had its ups and downs. It has its ebbs and flows. It had Miles' head nearly exploding at certain points. But it also had lots of a lot of dad dancing as well. It was a classic game. So, Miles, you start. I just want your general thoughts. General thoughts on the game.
I thought the scoreline would have been significantly more in Bristol's favour with the Bath team sheet, to be honest with you. I think probably a lot of us did. It had a rout written all over it. However...
Shellacking or just a rout?
Just a rout, I think. However, I'm going to take my hats off to that Bath team.
You've got 2 hats on?
2 hats. I didn't have any hat on the day, but I'm going to take my hat off to the youngsters. And, there were some experienced guys on that Bath team sheet that did a job. They went there to sort of disrupt. A lot of them thought, they're going to be playing the Principality again. They were pretty clinical. Their running lines are great. They had Cocker the Singer and Donahue was great, and some stalwarts. And they tried to spoil our occasion. And at one point, not for very long, it's looking like that mildly might happen. But end of the day, 36-14 win. Job was done, and I probably can't argue with the result.
Lee,
I thought it was an absolute disgrace. The team that Bath put out for a big day out, it wasn't a big day out at all, was it? It was, we were playing with all due respect to the Bath side, it was a second team. And I again, it kind of eats into that ethos of if you're bigging up all these big occasions, and I'm not just predominantly having a go at Bath Rugby because I can understand why they've done it. They didn't need to field a full strength team. They've got other things going on this season, but we've done it as well. We've bigged up these occasions, and then we've ended up playing second string teams. I just thought it was really disappointing, and I was obviously for whatever reason we know the reasons I wasn't going to go anyway, because I would have been a massive hypocrite if I would have gone to that game. I'm the kind of voice of the people, the season ticket holders that weren't they weren't told about going to the, it wasn't part of the plan originally. But I just thought it was a bit of a disgrace, to be honest. I get why he did it, but a big day out is meant to be a big day out.
So are you, because there was some sort of hint that this is also a Premier Rugby driven event, in the sense that they've said to Bristol, you've got the potential to run something like this with Cardiff. It's not quite the same as Quins and Sarries, but it can be done. And there has been a hint that there was external forces behind it. They do have a big day out kind of program, and obviously they did it, and that for financial reasons as well as kind of generating new interest reasons. So what I guess you're saying is, do you think that there should be some sort of, there should be some agreement that these big day outs should be, whatever the situation in the league, and whether a team's already qualified, there should be a responsibility for both teams to put their biggest one. Now, I mean, obviously Bears put their big team out mainly because we needed a win. We couldn't do anything but then you're right. It is a professional sport where players are paid to entertain their paymasters, which are essentially fans, season ticket holders. Now, you're right, Bath fans would have booked this long time ago.
Bath fans don't want to see their second string team getting beat by us, do they?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. It calls into question a lot of interesting questions, like when should you play this? Like maybe. So the interesting thing is next year they're going to be playing much earlier in the season, which therefore probably will be much more fully loaded. End of the Six Nations. Still a lot to play for. So, I think it's a fair point. I think from that point of view, I think Premier Rugby or the wider powers that be, need to perhaps think about that. But then they would probably say next year it is going to change.
I mean, ideally, what I want is I want all the figures in, and I want to know actually if it was profitable. Because
there's a lot of speculation
in it.
The
whole reason we've done it is to obviously enhance the game. Again, I'm not going to bleat on about my opinions on that because I don't think it's ideally enhancing the game that much for a Bristol Bears point of view. But I want to know if it was profitable. Was it worth everyone going over to Cardiff for the day? And I know you boys had a brilliant day out, and
we don't get out often.
That is great. That is great that supporters really enjoyed it. But was it worth it? I guess that's what I'm.
And I know one of the things you were concerned about was that the impact it would have on is one less game for North Street people to make a bit of money. But I was pleased to see that you did tweet a post. You posted a tweet with your shirt on, out on North Street, saying, "I'm going to be local, but enjoy it, fellas, and up the Bears." And I assume you drank about 2,000 cans of Thatchers and ate about 400 pasties to try and help out.
I did try my best.
Yeah,
I promise I did try my best.
I think a lot of people would respect that.
And I'm glad the shirt was on. That's all I can say.
I'm drinking from the bloated liver.
You know what? This is a total aside. I've just suddenly thought of something. Is that one of those? It was an argument that he's taken away some trade for
absolute.
But therefore, doesn't that give us a little bit more of incentive for the boys to try and get into the? To get to second. Oh, it's impossible now. Say if we got to at least second place, that'd be one extra game for North Street, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, I suppose they'll say, well, we did have that one in the Harlequins game, and that was in COVID, wasn't it? So we're like the same. Yeah. So anyway, it's a good point. Right, it's a good point, well made. They have rectified that for next year to a certain extent. It have changed.
Well, at least there's transparency.
Yeah, you know where you're getting. And there was also a simultaneous big day out yesterday. Am I right in London? Sort of the
It's Quins against Gloucester.
Quins against Gloucester. Again, there is a risk that I can't look at the table. There might not been any jeopardy there. So
well, Gloucester needed to win, and they got hammered.
They got hammered, didn't they?
So Gloucester didn't even. I mean, Gloucester went with a full side, got hammered. Bath came with a second string and did quite well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that tells you about anything. But
I mean, to be fair, it was a competitive game, wasn't it? I mean,
let's go back to the game.
Let's get back to the game because, it feels like I'm slating Bath then, and the team and the squad that they picked. But actually, it was a far more competitive game than I thought it was going to be.
And I think that's a really good point. And my general comment was, Bath have got themselves to a position where they've got a lot of competition now in there for places. They've got some, they've got a very settled team. So these young lads, they had something to prove, and that was what I felt. I felt they came out very, very strong. They played without fear. I think their forwards, ironic. I mean, when I saw them come out, they looked like some of their boys had never been playing in a stadium like that. But I think they acquitted themselves very well. I think that they faced up to our boys. They put our lads under pressure. And when you go, when they're pumping your line and we get 2 yellow cards, that shows you that they're putting us under pressure.
Absolutely.
So in that sense, it kind of made the game a little bit frustrating, because we didn't really get a foothold in the game for the first quarter, Miles. First 20 minutes. 4 times 20 is 80. And that was very much down to them playing well and defending hard. And, we would, there's one narrative to say that we butchered 4 visits to the Air 22. The red zone efficiency wasn't good, but, we butchered it because we were put under pressure and, they defended hard. Then they got their chance. So I'll try to just finish off. Say that the point was, I thought one narrative was we'd score 4 tries really quickly in 20 minutes, and then it would be a bit of an exhibition game. No, after 20 minutes, I was thinking, it's actually quite a tough game. This.
Yeah, I mean, I just like watching it on the TV. I don't know whether it was was it our ill discipline that made them look better?
It felt a little bit.
Do you know
like
what
that.
I mean? It kind of
maybe.
It's hard to tell.
Put us under pressure.
Yeah,
but I do think we contributed to our own. Not our own downfall, but our own kind of
we were hoisted by our own petard.
Yes,
we were, and actually, again, there was still too much ill-discipline in terms of this whole thing we've talked about is like you give away a couple of penalties, someone on your line, and the ref has clearly said that's 2 offsides.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it on the replay, and I was thinking nobody's changing the narrative here. Yeah. Nobody's saying just take a step back. Yeah. And like it was almost like we've said this before: is let them score so we don't get we're under the pump, and then we don't
yellow card.
And that was annoying. I think, we changed our game plan a little bit. We were definitely more pragmatic, kicking out at 22, but some of the kicking game was average. It was good in the sense that I felt the decisions to kick at the right time were good, but the execution. And now you might argue that's because we haven't been doing it, so we're a bit out of practice. Which actually is, flip that, reverse that. And say, actually, we should really take that to Sale this weekend. And now we've had a bit of practice. Yeah. It might be the one thing that helps us. So it was. I think you're right. We did create the situation for those boys to grow their confidence early. And then I thought first the third quarter, Miles, the first 20 minutes after second half, we then got on top. And we were looking pretty solid, and I thought, now we're going to cruise. Suddenly we're down to 13 again, and there was a moment where I thought we could throw this away. But ironically, we then actually focused with 13 men. We played so well.
Oh, it was brilliant then.
And in a way, that was probably quite good. That made the game quite interesting because I was like fretting, thinking, what are we doing? This is ridiculous.
I tell you what was quite funny, and it was like a lot of people were criticising Luke Pearce, but actually, I thought it was all. Luke Pearce keeps the game flowing. We mentioned this before we recorded. He's always going to keep the game flowing. So it was almost like, well, that's the way he referees the game.
And he's very clear.
Absolutely.
He's very clear. We didn't react to
it.
No,
we didn't.
And also, a couple of the yellows. I mean, there was the Yancey's Bernard's yellow, and he knew it. And he got it wrong. He got his timing wrong. He's not a nasty player. No. He got his timing wrong, but he knew straight away. And when he got given it, he was like, "Yep, he's off."
Off I go. Yeah.
Bats had a brain fart with his yellow, like trying to tackle someone
on the floor.
He knows it. And I saw him walking off, and you could think of thinking, "What have I just done?"
But again, just come back.
Yeah, just come back.
Yeah.
And then Matter and
they get multiple offsides and
Heath. I mean, those ones are tricky because Pearce was very clear, but I'm like, you're very clear when they're 1 yard from our line. Why are refs not very clear when it's in the middle of the park? It's like I find that very frustrating. The back foot thing. Yeah. They're very clear on it when a team is attacking. But it should be the same area. It's like in football, a penalty is just a free kick in that area. Yeah. No more, no different. Right. Yeah. So it was a difficult. I think they gave us what I thought was they gave us enough of a test for us to kind of problem solve our way out of it, which ultimately was probably quite a good thing because we were able to get our confidence back and then essentially walk away with 5 points, which is what we needed. Yeah. Arrest this kind of defeat decline that we've had, and then let's be honest. Tigers hammer beat Sale. Saints beat Leinster. Yeah. I actually think, maybe it wasn't that bad a result against those two because they're good sides.
It's just bonkers, isn't it?
It is bonkers.
The whole thing.
It is bonkers. That's our general thoughts. I don't know. I know our memories aren't great. Miles, anything that you remember, like a key moment, an event from the game that you... I know one, if you can't remember it, but that I remember you doing. But I'll give you a chance first.
Oh, yeah,
a key moment.
I don't know. Other than the sort of 4 yellow cards... There's not much of that game really, other than sort of getting the 5 points. And there's some great tries and great Bath play. That really, was there any pivotal moments? I'm not sure.
All right. Well, Lee's putting his hand up. I didn't say
that we were never going to cruise to a win, but I think until we got to maybe 73 minutes or something like that, and we had a chance of a penalty and another cape on, another Matter score. I thought obviously we're going to get a win there, but until then it was pretty edgy.
It's what happens when you get to Cardiff at 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock start. Miles can't remember anything.
Or North Street.
Yeah.
The big one for me was the hit from Big Bill.
Oh,
now that was
was that Orlando Bailey?
Yeah. And that was a bone cruncher. Bailey's. And this sounds like I'm kind of glorifying violence. But Bailey's neck was just his head. It was like his neck was in a different postcode. his neck and his head were in different postcodes. Oh my goodness! And that is Bill Matter at his best, isn't it?
I mean, Yancey did a big smash like that, didn't he? Within the first 5 minutes
Yancey
as well.
Smashed.
It was just. I mean, it was just great timing. He had the ability to spot it really late and legally tackle a player.
Yancey, that was very early on. Yancey smashed Donahue, and then Ogre came in because Donahue had been kind of like poleaxed. The ball, Ogre saw a chance of rucking over the ball. And but unfortunately, put his hands down and actually got penalised for putting his hands on it. When actually he did, it was a classic. The ball was there to be rucked over, and then I mean the funny one about Orlando Bailey was that I think Slady, Henry Slade, then tweeted out saying some of us have been there before as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is quite funny. That was a big. And I actually that takes me. I thought Matt had a decent game. Actually, I think he was very physical, and I think we should also. My kind of standout thing is that I thought that ironically when we were under the pump, the boys really, really did show their mettle. It's almost like this crazy thing about we go down to 13, 14 and we start absolutely playing like demons. And I thought, there was a couple of defensive sets, particularly in the second half when it could have gone all wrong. And we were down to 13. I don't think we let them score at all in those two. And I think that was down to some pretty sensible, pragmatic, hard play. So,
the fox was blowing on the door, wasn't he? But
we weren't
letting them in.
There's a talking point. I thought some of the players looked knackered. Both teams.
But I do feel like you guys were there. The roof was closed.
Yeah.
I mean that's gonna.
I think it must do.
The atmosphere and the kind of the heat.
Yeah.
It does retain in that stadium, doesn't it? I mean, you think, on pitch level. There must be some sort of.
It felt well.
It must feel draining.
Well, we were blown. We'd been out in the sun for 4 hours, and it was just a relief to get under in the stadium with the roof shut. I don't know. It felt quite cool, didn't it? A nice temperature, but we weren't playing 80 minutes of rugby. We were just playing 80 minutes of drinking. So get it maybe. That is the case.
I mean, we were at 26-14. 2 men down on 64 minutes. There was a narrative to say we were looking down the barrel, and it was a pivotal moment going back to pivotal because in some ways our season almost rested on that, because if we had capitulated and even let them get close or worse than that, lost the game on the back of it, that the ramifications of that would have been quite intense.
Well, actually, when we talk about pivotal moments, because I'd written down here, you boys will remember just before half time, Baffer almost scored. And then we'd turned the ball over and we went up and then we'd scored at the other end. So we'd gone in 19-7 up at half time. But actually, that was a 14-point swing if you think about it that way. And that's right on half time.
Yeah.
And that makes that's potentially a huge difference between them being fired up at half time, coming out and, all guns blazing, or being down in the dumps and, we're kind of, 12 points ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good point. I think let's do some quick positives and negatives. Well, I say positive. No, let's not call them negatives. Positives and
less positives.
Work-ons.
Yeah, there are some work-ons.
Work-on. We're allowed to say that. Well, we're not really working on it, are we? Positives and areas of development.
That's good.
Areas of development as
a teacher.
Yeah. So I think positives. We still looked. I thought Randall had a good game. He looked sharper.
He did
at times. Yeah. I thought our ruck speed at times was better. I still feel we could do more. I still feel that Randall spends too much time clapping rather than getting his hands in and getting the ball quick. And I think I know what he's trying to do. Either they're cheating, or he's kind of trying to get the ref to think they're cheating. Part of me just thinks, get your hands in there, boy. Get him out. Get it going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought we played. There was a couple of nice little moves. I thought Lena looked sharp. He looks fast, Lena.
He did, didn't he? He had a great try. I mean, he's to work on his accuracy of his kicking.
But he is. I would say Lena is usually a kind of a low error count sort of player.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would happen that often.
I mean, he did a great try-saving tackle. I mean, his ability and his speed down the line is just great.
Yeah, defending well.
Defending well, just brilliant. It's a try-saving.
So your positives, Lena.
Yeah.
Lena. although we're caveating it with a couple of kicks.
Couple of kicks.
I think Lena's got more credit in the bank for that. And we need Lena. We do say, mind you, we have been saying Lena should kick it more because he's got a big boot, and then maybe that's why he doesn't.
I mean, when we're talking about try-saving tackles, James Williams.
Yeah. And he was a beast. I thought he was a bit. I thought he defended. He was body on the line.
He did look like he was absolutely in his element, didn't he?
And I think for him it was a massive moment. It was a massive opportunity. And Lena as well. I think him and Lena, they've come from the Championship. They've got quality. They've been recognised for their quality, and they're now playing in a crucial game. And have had difficult. He's been injured this season. Yeah. He's had ups and downs. I think you're right. I think James Williams was a good shout on a positive.
Another positive's got to be Bats coming back.
100%.
That's huge for us.
I did feel that there was a sense of calm.
Yeah.
A sense of, and then when I think Dunny came on in the second half, we got back to the Batley-Dunn axis.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we want. If we've got the Batley-Dunn axis at Sale, and at Quins, and maybe a semi-final after that, I think that's given us a better chance.
You're right. I think they're both fit, and maybe Joe Owen's on the bench. I mean, that's
it keeps coming back to what we always talk about: platform. We always talk about platform,
and to be fair to Pat, he said that he said it before the game, and I think sometimes he does say this and we don't listen, but he does say that is that a lot of it is it's not about the sexy stuff. It's what we want, but it's about how you place the ball in a ruck, and it's how you get your body shape, and it's how you.
I wonder how Pat's interview went when he was over there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was a bit late to the game. I saw him as he was ripping off a tie and his shirt and stuff like that as he ran up to the thing.
Sorry, that's being really naughty, I know, but
he loves. But they did ask him actually. Sarah Elgin asked him, and he says, "I love Wales and I love Cardiff." So he's open about it. He loves it. But I think it's now fairly established that he probably isn't the bookies' favourite anymore. Have they actually announced anything yet? They haven't, have they?
No,
they haven't.
So it could happen. I don't think so.
I don't know. I feel like there's still legs in
could be
in that race,
as you say.
Unlike our friend Lewis.
No, he's got
no legs.
Got no legs whatsoever.
So,
he's probably not.
I mean, I'm just thinking, what else would listeners want to talk about? I mean, a lot of people were there because there was a lot of people there. Yeah. They know what we're talking about. Is there anything else?
I think so for those who didn't go, and they've all got their reasons. I think the spectacle of the big day out in Cardiff, I would say that was a massive success.
Yes.
Generally, I think from what we
well organised.
Yeah. The Bath fans. I mean. The weather was a plus. The Bath fans were great, weren't they?
Yeah, it was good. There was good mingling.
Good mingling. There was, there's no like.
There was no needle.
No niggles, etc.
But there was gentle niggle, but it was all right.
Good banter really between Bristol and Bath. So I think that worked. Big tick there. I think getting there, big tick. Getting back, maybe give it a 7 out of 10. But as we've said.
It only cost us 15 quid.
That's not down to Bristol Sport.
No, that's not down to Bristol.
It cost us 15 quid return on the train, so that wasn't too bad.
I think coming out in the smack bang in the city centre of Cardiff with so many bars and pubs, that was a plus.
Well, we know that. Yeah.
Sadly, couldn't get in Tiny Rebel, just too busy. But I thought. Why not?
Right. Okay. So the question I've got to ask you, Tim.
Yeah, go for it.
From not being there is. Obviously, you've had a brilliant day out, but the whole point of it was it worth it for Bristol Bears? Was it worth it? I know we won't know about the money side of it.
I think the problem, we don't know the facts. I suspect that even if it was a break-even job, I think that's probably what they'd be happy with, because it's clearly going to be building. I think that. I don't know. I think that. So the answer, yes. Actually, I think so. I think that they mucked up a few things by not announcing it after the season tickets. But really, when you think about it from a business point of view, which I know is not the only point of view, to make it work this year, they had to get Bath there. Because they had to guarantee some fans to go, and obviously Bath and Bristol would be the two sets of fans that would more easily get there. It took away a home game at Ashton Gate, which is a contentious issue. There's no doubt about that. But they clearly next season. But I hope for it's not,
ain't great, is it?
Yeah, but that's by.
I think
that's an aside.
Joking there.
So my point is that I think it was worth it because they ain't going to not happen again. And if you're going to make it, if you're going to do something, let's make sure it works well and something comes out of it positive.
Okay. So did you see? Was there a load of Welsh fans there that just turned?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. They did. I mean, my mate was there with a load of Welsh fans, and Paddy went with his mates from Columpton. I have no idea, unless we get any access to any statistics. There were a lot of Bears fans there. There were a lot of Bath fans there, but there were a lot of people that might have been Welsh. I don't know. I really don't know. My feeling was that it was a West Country takeover. That's what it felt like.
All the Welsh.
But then again, I met some guy in the Kiwi bar. Yeah. He was a local guy and he'd gone to the game and he was about 55 and he said he enjoyed it. He said it's the best rugby I've seen all season.
Really?
Yeah. So that was quite interesting. That was just one person. So they were. So they clearly were the odd person.
Maybe if the price is right.
He loved it.
But this is it. And access is easy.
It was a price point that's accessible.
Yeah. So don't take the mickey with the ticket costs. Yeah. Get families there. Yeah. Give families a deal. And I don't see why it can't be more of a success maybe next year.
Yeah, and hopefully if it is Gloucester, they feel first team.
Yeah,
squad.
it will be a first team head to head. Two women.
You're right. It's the right two women's teams head to head. Right time of year. There should definitely still be jeopardy.
Right.
So yeah.
So I feel like time's getting on. We did have a few listener interactions, sort of normal ones, and I need to go through these. So the first thing was that Stato, Neil Williams, I just thought I'd let this, if people hadn't seen this, I better get this out there. So Gabriel Libatoyi has now scored 11 tries in Premiership rugby games this season, which is now equaling the record for all Bears players in the top flight.
That's bonkers.
Joining
because he spent
half the season injured. Yeah. Imagine how many he could have scored. But anyway, he's in very esteemed company. Felipe Contamponi, 2001-2. Excuse me. David Lemmy, 6-7. Harry Thacker, 22-23. So we don't really count Thacker's ones, though, really, because that was all just at the end of Rolling Balls, wasn't it?
I don't want to be disrespectful to Harry because he was still in.
You still got to burrow deep.
That's right.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, you're right. Anyway,
we wouldn't want to be doing it.
No, I wouldn't want to be getting my head down there. Anyway, so that was just. I thought I'd shout out to Gabs for that, and who knows, could get a few more before the end of the season. So he's got a record to look for. The Poetry Boys were back. Hambley twins.
Yeah,
both went to the game by the sounds of it. Woke up this morning with hangovers and knocked out a couple of acrostics. Robin had to rewrite his because he had some words.
I wasn't going to mention it, but obviously.
So now we know that he definitely doesn't do it on AI because he made mistakes. Yeah, he's actually human. Yeah. So here we go. Two of them very quickly.
Go on then.
So here we go. They're both acrostic. So we go Robin first. Here we go. Beautiful weather for a road trip. Immense crowds filling Cardiff streets. Game we had won. Didn't seem to have the ref on our side. A rotated Bath put up a good fight. Yellow cards left, right and centre. Our Steele saw us through to the end. Ultimately a successful round. Top four still a possibility. 3 words, all 3 letters. Big day out. Brilliant. And actually, good summary, actually. We should have read that at the beginning. Right, next one is Hammy. Again, here we go. Sensational rugby at times. Trains cause havoc for some home fans, in inverted commas. Ibitoya is class. Lane Train had the gas today. Looks like we've worked on defence. Incredible tri-fest at the end. Nothing like beating them down the road. It's going to be a tense end of the season. 2 must-win games to go. Quite difficult, that one. It's still in it. Still in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then
wait a sec. Didn't you owe an apology to?
Yeah, but
one of the brothers?
I can't remember now.
One of them.
I think it's Robin who's the poet laureate.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because if you make this,
he did send me a message.
They're going to kill us.
I've had exams this week to be honest. Right. Next. What I do know is that Spencer Mizzen got in touch. Now we know that Spencer is son of Paul.
Yeah.
And father of Freddie.
This sounds like a Bible.
Yeah, we've had this before. Anyway, Spencer said, "Your pod still rocks. Keep up the good work. Here's a limerick to celebrate our triumph over that lot down the road yesterday. So when the Bears crossed the bridge, Bath played their kids. Could they smoke us with a second string? 4 men got sent off. Our defence went super soft. Who cares? Our big day out was a big fat win.
Brilliant.
Like that.
Love it.
Anyway, cheers.
I hope there was no involvement from Big Johnny Silverthorne in that as well.
I hope not.
No collaborations.
No, not.
But of course, as we alluded to at the beginning, me and Miles had a very sociable day out, and we did meet a lot of people. And that was another great thing about it.
Yeah.
So I did say a few shout outs. Tom Dabbs, we've said.
Yeah.
Dominic Somerville, who is a listener and actually had sent a tweet saying Temple Meads is getting busy. You should make sure you give yourself plenty of time. Turned out he sat next to us in the whole of the Millennium Stadium, 51,000 people. And so Dominic, it was nice to meet you. I did actually ask for his halftime thoughts and then realised that it didn't record. So, it's just between him and me. Vader, our good friend, Cleaver, and Vader, Arthur and Rachel Pierce, we saw them.
Nice.
Had a lovely photo with them. Nice chat after the game. Great to see them.
Yeah.
Another one we saw was Henry and Elsie from South Bristol Girls Rugby Club. We also asked them for their thoughts, and that didn't get recorded either. I'm so sorry.
See, this is where you boys go away.
I know.
More than 3 pints.
I didn't have my production company with me, did I? So I'm really sorry. It was nice to see them. And then, of course, say thanks to my mate Ash and Thomas and Sam, his nephews, who were good value.
Yeah.
We also met Ryan Keishel and his boys and his wife Penny.
They were helping us flag it.
Have the boys still got the mullets?
Boys who got the mullets.
Yes.
They were all, one of them. So they held the flag. And then we also met Memnock, who's on the he's always on the forum as Memnock. We've met him a few times, and his daughter Kerry, who's doing her A-levels.
Yeah, of course.
So good luck to them. And then we with our kind of player liaison hats on, we also met Mark McGinty, Adge's brother, had a great little chat with him. And I did record it. It got lost. It basically didn't record.
Corrected us on his name's Mark.
But
not Martin,
apparently last time we had him on, I called him Martin and said he was drunk.
And last time you'd had a few beers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
nice to chat to him. Really
Mark got back. He said he's going to be at the Quins game. He's going to come over from Ireland for the Quins game and wants to go out for a few beers. So that's great. Great to see Mark. Always good value. We saw obviously Mike Bates is everywhere. Yeah. He was like on the screen. He was on the pitch. He was on the kind of player possession. He was probably on TNT getting interviewed after the game.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It is brilliant.
And we also saw Pat Lam. So we went to the Kiwi bar afterwards.
Did he say where's Lee?
He didn't. Well, he did ask who was there, actually. And I said, it's just me and Miles. And we left it hanging. But actually...
A bit loud, though, wasn't it?
Pat was there. We was quite surprised because it was just a bar. And he was there in his kind of smart gear. And it wasn't that far after the game. So he'd obviously got showered and left. But he was there with his daughter. It was her 18th birthday. And he was kind of with some of her friends. And I think he was kind of on dad mode. He was on dad mode, sort of chaperoning around. So he had a quick chat, but it was nice. He was in a very sort of relaxed. Obviously, he was happy because we'd won, so that was good. And then we also bumped into Jimmy Williams' dad, who came up to us and said, "Oh, you're the lads from the pod."
What's his name?
And his name is Jim.
Jimmy Senior.
Yeah, Jimmy Senior. So and also AJ. He's also Alan Jr. So we've got a bit of that in our squad. Yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd mention Jim because he was a really nice guy. And he said that Jimmy was all over it today. It was almost like the pinnacle of his career that he'd got. A young lad from Wimborne had got to the Millennium. He was really chuffed. To
be fair, it did look like that on the TV as well. It did look like he was,
But it was nice to meet Jim Williams. But boys, for the first time ever,
have we forgotten?
We didn't bump into Debs and Jim. I saw a picture that they...
and that literally is the first time
It's literally the first time. I've not seen Debs on any of the official photos anywhere. So I think this is the trouble. She's not good in a big stadium, is she? She needs a smaller stadium.
She needed to be back in BS3.
It didn't matter the crowd size. All our other listeners we bumped into.
Yeah,
but
we didn't see Debs and Jim. Just it was a shame. I thought I think this is the problem. She'll be totally against it next year, won't she? Because there's too many people.
We'll see her at Quins.
We'll see her at Quins. Which we should.
Yeah,
is our really good friends. Alison Murray,
who
struggled to get there from Parkway down to Temple Meads and in, but I think really enjoyed the game.
They did.
So.
Although Mary did think Cardiff, it was a bit dirty, the street at the end. She said it was a bit.
You didn't take the girls down Kebab Alley, did you?
Of course we did. We just went everywhere. They were following us around.
I thought the youth would like Cardiff.
Yeah.
Whereas just us old folk, we're loving it.
Actually, to be fair, we took them to Taco Bell. That was a bit classier.
A cheap voucher, mate.
And me and Mars had eaten 2 Taco Bells by the time they'd worked out how to use the self-service machine. But it's good value. We had a great laugh with it.
We had a great laugh with them. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I will quantify. Next season, I will be there.
Yep.
Because everything's transparent now,
right.
and I know exactly what we're paying
the
for.
clubs, exactly.
You know, and that's exactly what the whole point was meant to be.
I think you're right. I think season ticket holders know the deal. They've got a choice next year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I guess so. Let's hope that the seating plan is slightly improved for us paying fans. We'll be next year for a double header, isn't it? It's been announced. So it'll be women's game first.
Yeah.
With potentially Claire Thomas commentating on it with we'll have
full of superlatives.
Absolutely, and then the male's going to follow. So
right. We're not going to dwell too much on Sale because I think we all know that we need to win it.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
If we're all fit, we'll put our strongest side out. Steve, the only slight downside of Saturday was Stevie went off, hobbling off, but. We have got Santi back, Grondona back. It may be a Mata, Grondona, Harding. And then, of course, we've always got Jake Heenan.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And I think we'll probably be a little bit more pragmatic. Maybe this game plan that we kind of executed on and off today with a bit more kicking, we'll have to go to Sale. But the one thing we all know is we know what Sale are going to do.
I'm going to throw this out there.
Yeah.
We need a bit of filth.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Big Jan. Big Jan is the filthiest guy I think we've got in that squad, and I think Jan starts.
And it could depend on what ref we get as well, a little bit as well. Yeah. I think we need a ref that we need to get on the ref side early.
Yeah.
And but we've got all to play for. I'm sure there'll be some hardcore fans out there that will make the trip.
Yeah, Friday night.
Sale.
Yeah, tough trip.
So fingers crossed. And if we can get something out of the game so that we've got the destiny in our own hands for the Quins game, then it could be a great finish. And although realistically the best we can hope for is probably a semi-final away at the Rec. But where we have already won this season. Absolutely. So many narratives that could be positive coming our way.
Absolutely.
So I think on that note, boys, we should call it a day. We'll call it a night. So everyone out there, have a good week, stay safe, and
up the Bears.